Couple of legends of the sport, and this would have been a fight that was tailor-made for Brazil, but unfortunately, due to circumstances, we have it from Fight Island. You have Shogun Mauricio Rua taking on Minotouro Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Matt, what can I say? I mean, Rogerio took a lot of time off between the loss to Ryan Bader, who you can't discount that. I mean, Ryan Bader looks like a superstar with Bellator these days, and then he comes out after a long layoff and fights Sam Alvey, and a lot of people counted him out. I know I did at the time. And he knocked him out. Like, he looked like a semblance or a shining little light of the old Nogueira. And then he comes out in his last fight and did not look good against Ryan Spann. He got finished in the first round. It was in Brazil. Ryan Spann went ham. Ryan Spann hasn't looked great since. So what do we get after that? Well, he was booked to take on Trevor Smith back in November. Nogueira's out due to a back injury. I don't like that. Then he was booked against Shogun for UFC 249. In what's been like the 5th or 6th booking of this fight, and it's the 3rd time that it's really going to take place, and now we get it this summer. Well, you can't call it a rubber match. You can, but Shogun won the last 2 by decision. So it's a really weird booking. We're so far deep into these guys' career. I mean, you don't have a lot of guys fighting at 44. You have one. You have Mauricio Shogun Rua, who was like Pride's best, comes into the UFC champ. And Matt, I know we're going to talk about it. When we get into, MMA, like I had somebody ask me in the DMs on Twitter not that long ago, what got you into UFC?
Shogun.
Well, we say GSP. Shogun was probably
Shogun
like
and
the
Lyoto
main
Machida
driver.
were household names in our house for some odd reason for 2 people who grew up in rural Canada. But this fight would be a great retirement fight for both guys, but it belongs in a Brazilian stadium just because both guys mean so much, not only to the country, but really to the sport of MMA, to the pioneers. Because anytime, again, Pride never died, but this might be the day that Pride dies, because I don't know how many more Pride guys are still out there. Mauricio Shogun Rua should win this fight. I'll preface it by that. We've seen... not, prime Shogun by any means, but we've at least seen him active and in competitive fights throughout his career.
If I could say anything about Shogun, from age 36 and up, he's kind of like your friend in high school that has like just an old Sunfire, and he can't afford to put gas in the tank, so he fills it up with $5 at a time. But he's the type of guy that the empty light's been on for about 20 clicks, and you know what he does to get there? He just floors it and goes as fast as he can. Shogun will do that in some of these fights where he just little spurt, and he looks like that Shogun of old. And he has success. Like in the Tyson Pedro fight, he was losing until it seemed like Pedro got hurt to the leg.
Tear his ACL, but...
And then Shogun poured it on him. Like, he still has the ability to do that.
And yeah, so if he hurts Nogueira for any amount of time in this fight, I think he can put him away. The bad thing for Rua is, if you fought for as long as he has, and you've been in as many wars as Shogun has, your chin starts to fade. And I think that that's more than proven itself. I couldn't tell you the last Shogun fight where he didn't get rocked. It just happens. It's kind of a fact at this point. And in the Sam Alvey fight, or the Ryan Spann fight, sorry, not that Nogueira was ever really in a position to win that fight, but before he got finished himself, he did seem to stun Ryan Spann. Take that for what it's worth, just because I think Nogueira still has pop at the end of his shots. He has that really unorthodox boxing style that him and his brother are both pretty well known for, because for as good as both guys are on the mat, and everyone knows, Nogueira Jiu-Jitsu, they coached Anderson Silva, that's who got him his black belt, but I don't think the ground game is going to have that much to do with this fight. Both guys more than happy to strike. I think the leg kicks of Shogun are going to take a toll on Nogueira as the fight progresses, but I got to be honest, I'm not expecting this barn burner fight. If it was 2006, you have no idea how excited I'd be right now, but unfortunately it's 2020, they're fighting in Abu Dhabi and not in Brazil, and I just think Shogun does a little bit more at this stage in his career. I think both guys are, they're putting, they pretty much have 3-foot gimmies right now on the 18th hole in their careers. That's how close they are to being done. So I just think Shogun has a little bit left in the tank compared to Nogueira. So
wicked weird stat on Shogun that I'm sure you know of if you're this far into the video. He's 4-1 with 1 draw in his last 6 fights. You'd think kind of Shogun, no dice, no way. And for Nogueira, you look at it, alternating wins and losses over a really long period of time. Out of 953 votes on Tapology, 92% was Shogun, 68% by knockout. And if you look at the odds, I'm kind of surprised that they're not further apart. Shogun opened a -300 favorite, trending around a -185, 190. And for Nogueira, +160. Nogueira could catch him with something at range, but I don't see it happening.
No, exactly. I think Shogun's going to start with the leg kick early, and then he's going to do kind of what you said, start throwing those big hooks, work around the low kick, though, because if you do just keep on marching straight forward towards Nogueira, he has that good jab straight right. But other than that, that's really the one thing you have to worry about if you're Shogun. Again, he's susceptible to that weapon, so it is something to be concerned for. But I just think Shogun has a lot more tools in his toolbox at this stage in his career.
That one loss to a future title challenger, Anthony Smith. Wild stuff there. You're not going to want to miss the rest of our
Shogun's
predictions.
knocking at the door.
Both going with Shogun Rua in this one. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt, as we get into an extended look at our main event. Hoo boy, between Darren Till and Robert Whittaker. So keep it locked in. And as we always say, Matt, let's get into it.